Confidence is built, not born. Many people walk through life believing that confidence is a personality trait reserved for the lucky few. They assume that confident people were simply born different, more charismatic, more talented, more secure. But the truth is far more empowering. Confidence is not a gift handed to a select group at birth. It is a skill developed through consistent action and repeated experience. Every time you take action despite doubt, you create evidence. That evidence begins to challenge the story in your mind that says you are incapable. Small wins matter more than dramatic transformations. When you complete a task you've been avoiding, speak up in a meeting, maintain eye contact during a conversation, or follow through on a commitment, you send a powerful message to yourself. I can rely on me. Confidence grows from this self-trust. It is built in the quiet moments where no one is applauding you. It is built when you choose discipline over excuses. It is built when you try again after failing. Over time, these repeated actions rewire your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. The foundation of fearless confidence is evidence collected through behavior. You don't think your way into confidence, you act your way into it. Fear doesn't disappear, you move anyway. One of the biggest misconceptions about confidence is the belief that confident people feel no fear. In reality, fear is a natural biological response designed to protect you. It shows up before presentations, difficult conversations, new opportunities, and uncertain risks. The difference is not the absence of fear, but the response to it. Fearless confidence means acknowledging fear without allowing it to control your decisions. It means feeling your heart race and choosing to speak anyway. It means doubting yourself and still submitting the application. Courage is not loud or dramatic. Often it is a quiet decision made internally. I will move forward. Every time you act despite fear, you weaken fear's authority over your life. Avoidance strengthens anxiety. Action weakens it. The more you face discomfort voluntarily, the more your nervous system adapts. What once felt terrifying becomes manageable. Over time, your tolerance for uncertainty expands. Fear becomes a signal for growth rather than a stop sign. Confident individuals are not fearless. They are skilled at acting while afraid. They understand that waiting for fear to vanish is a trap. Growth begins the moment you step forward even while your voice shakes. Your self-talk shapes your identity. Inside every confident person is a powerful internal narrative. Likewise, inside every insecure person is a narrative that limits them. The words you repeat internally become the blueprint for your behavior. If you constantly tell yourself you are awkward, incapable, or behind in life, your brain looks for evidence to confirm that story. Negative self-talk becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you consciously change your inner dialogue, you begin to shift your identity. This does not mean blind positivity or ignoring reality. It means choosing constructive language. Instead of saying, I always fail, you say, I am learning. Instead of I'm not confident, you say, I am building confidence. Language shapes perception. Perception shapes action. Action shapes results. Over time, your identity evolves around the words you consistently repeat. Speak to yourself the way a strong mentor would. Firm, honest, but supportive. Replace harsh criticism with corrective guidance. When you control your internal voice, you control the direction of your growth. Fearless confidence begins in the mind long before it shows in behavior. Your body influences your mind. Confidence is not only psychological, it is physiological. The way you hold your body directly affects how you feel. Slouched posture, downward gaze, shallow breathing, these signals communicate weakness to your brain. On the other hand, upright posture, steady eye contact, and controlled breathing communicate strength and stability. When you adjust your body language intentionally, you influence your emotional state. This is not theory, it is biology. Your nervous system responds to physical cues. Standing tall increases alertness and presence. Slow, deliberate movements signal control. When you speak clearly and reduce rushed gestures, you project certainty, even if you do not fully feel it yet. Over time, the outer behavior conditions the inner state. Confident body language can precede confident feelings. This is why practicing posture, voice control, and movement is essential. Walk into rooms with awareness. Sit with stability. Maintain calm breathing under pressure. These physical habits reinforce mental strength. Fearless confidence is embodied. It is seen in how you enter spaces, how you pause before speaking, and how you maintain composure under observation. Rejection is training, not failure. Most people fear rejection more than failure itself. Rejection feels personal. It feels like judgment. But in reality, rejection is information. It is feedback about fit, timing, or alignment, not about your worth as a human being. Confident individuals reinterpret rejection differently. Instead of internalizing it as proof of inadequacy, they treat it as data. Every no builds emotional endurance. Every setback strengthens resilience. When you detach your identity from outcomes, you become unstoppable. You understand that growth requires exposure to discomfort. Athletes grow by stressing their muscles. Entrepreneurs grow by risking ideas. Leaders grow by making unpopular decisions. In the same way, your confidence grows when you survive rejection and realize you are still standing. The sting fades faster each time. The fear reduces. The courage expands. Eventually, you begin to seek challenges rather than avoid them. You understand that comfort breeds stagnation. Rejection becomes part of the process, not the end of it. Fearless confidence emerges when you no longer measure your worth by acceptance. Discipline creates unshakable confidence. Motivation is emotional and temporary. It rises and falls depending on mood, energy, and circumstances. Discipline, however, is a decision. It is the ability to act regardless of how you feel. True confidence is rooted in self-trust, and self-trust is built through discipline. When you repeatedly keep promises to yourself, waking up on time, completing tasks, honoring commitments, you strengthen your internal credibility. You prove to yourself that your word matters. This self-respect becomes the backbone of confidence. You no longer depend on external validation because you trust your own standards. Discipline removes excuses and replaces them with execution. Over time, your identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who follows through. This consistency stabilizes your emotions. You become less reactive and more intentional. Fearless confidence is not loud arrogance. It is quiet certainty developed through disciplined action. It is knowing that regardless of circumstances, you can rely on yourself to respond with strength. And when you trust yourself completely, the world no longer feels intimidating. Building confidence also means embracing discomfort deliberately. When you step into situations that challenge you, you expand your capability. Each uncomfortable moment is an opportunity to grow. Speak in meetings even when your voice shakes. Approach someone new even when fear tells you to retreat. Start that project even if doubt whispers that you will fail. The more you practice deliberate exposure to fear, the less it controls you. Confidence compounds through repetition. Tiny, consistent actions build momentum. It is not the grand gestures but the small daily commitments that solidify self-trust. Each promise you keep to yourself is evidence that you are capable. Each boundary you set reinforces your autonomy. Each choice to face fear instead of avoiding it expands your inner strength. Over time, you notice a subtle but powerful shift. Your mind begins to expect success. You anticipate executing rather than doubting. You prepare rather than procrastinate. You respond rather than freeze. This shift transforms your identity from hesitant to decisive, from reactive to proactive. Confidence becomes a natural extension of who you are. Another critical aspect of fearless confidence is emotional resilience. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control your response. When rejection, failure, or criticism occur, you absorb the lesson rather than internalize the judgment. You learn to differentiate between feedback and self-worth. This separation allows you to keep moving forward unshaken. It is not callousness, it is clarity. Your energy is preserved for growth, not wasted on unnecessary fear or self-doubt. The mind-body connection also amplifies confidence. Your posture, breathing, and presence communicate internally and externally. Standing tall and breathing deeply signals alertness and readiness. Slow, deliberate movements communicate calmness and control. When practiced consistently, these behaviors recondition your emotional state, reinforcing the confidence you are building internally. Fearless confidence is a full-body experience. Mental clarity, emotional resilience, and physical presence combine to create a persona that radiates self-assurance. Even in challenging circumstances, the confident individual moves with intent, speaks with clarity, and engages with presence. Discipline remains the backbone of all of this. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is enduring. When you consistently honor your word to yourself, your credibility grows. Self-trust becomes habitual. You stop depending on external validation. The world feels less intimidating because you know your internal standards are strong. Over time, this combination of action, resilience, and discipline builds a feedback loop. Confidence begets confidence. Each action reinforces the belief that you are capable, competent, and reliable. The more you act despite fear, the more fear loses its power. The more you honor your commitments, the stronger your self-trust. The more you face rejection, the more resilient your spirit becomes. And gradually, the habits, mindset, and behaviors converge to create fearless confidence, a state where you acknowledge fear, respect it, but refuse to let it dictate your choices. This is not instantaneous. It is gradual, cumulative, and consistent. There is no shortcut, only deliberate practice. Every conversation, every commitment, every challenge is a brick in the foundation. Over time, that foundation becomes unshakable. Confidence is therefore not a mystery, not a privilege of the naturally talented, and not a fleeting feeling. It is a skill, a practice, and a discipline. It is built in moments of discomfort, reinforced through repeated action, and embodied in mind and body. It is quiet, steady, and deeply empowering. And the beautiful truth is this: anyone can build it, starting today, one brave action at a time.